Beginning next summer, we're going to do a serious renovation of the first floor of the Addlestone Library. And part of that renovation, we're going to add 2 recording studios and podcasting studios to the first floor that will allow us even more capability to build on our already strong oral history projects here in the library, including the South Carolina LGBTQ+ Oral History Archive and the Jewish Heritage Collection Oral History Archive, which is one of our oldest and best projects, consisting of more than 500 oral history interviews with Charleston's Jewish community and their relatives, dealing with family history, local history, business history, really all about the culture and history here in Charleston, South Carolina. The Jewish Heritage Collection Oral History Project began in 1995 with nearly 30 years of work devoted to a project documenting the history and culture of Jewish life here in South Carolina. Given that South Carolina has one of the oldest Jewish communities in the United States, this is an incredibly important collection consisting of more than 500 oral history interviews and growing, most of which are available through the Lowcountry Digital Library right on the College of Charleston Library's webpage.
The Jewish Heritage Collection began as a partnership among 3 organizations right from the get-go. Special Collections was interested in building its Jewish archives, and we had just received the sort of crown jewel of all Jewish archives in the South, I may say, the Kahal Kadosh Beth Elohim Congregational Records. There was a brand new organization called the Jewish Historical Society of South Carolina. So the Jewish Studies program was interested, obviously, in building a research library for its students, for curricular development, and also in facilitating this new organization, the Jewish Historical Society. We have a tremendous range of researchers. Our target audience always is faculty and students. We're interested in supporting the curriculum. We're interested in teachers bringing their students in here or signing term papers that would utilize the collection and proactively recruit students in a number of ways. And so our audience is essentially unlimited. It's the whole wide world.
So the College of Charleston Special Collections has more than 500 separate manuscript collections. But in order to ensure that we give voice to the voiceless, to make sure that we are documenting regional groups and cultures that don't necessarily have a long history of paper archives, we've launched a number of oral history projects, including the South Carolina LGBTQ+ Oral History Project and the Jewish Heritage Collection Oral History Project. We also have an important Sea Island Oral History Project going on at the Avery Research Center for African American History and Culture. Oral histories are critical for us to document communities that are not always well represented in archives like ours, to ensure that our students, our faculty, and scholars from all over the world are able to come and truly study the region and its people. Once completed, the first floor renovation of the Addlestone Library will truly create a 21st century environment for our students to do their creative activities, to study, and to learn. Most important, they will have facilities to do work and technologies that they don't currently have. For example, they'll be able to create their own podcast in studios on the first floor. They'll also be able to participate in, through both their courses and co-curricular activities, oral history projects that will enrich the resources that we already have in our archive and be available to anyone all over the world through the Lowcountry Digital Library. So with the work we've done in our archives, people tend to think of archives as being historical collections, but the reality is a lot of the most innovative, interesting work done in our library by our faculty and by our students are done using manuscript collections, oral histories, and other resources in special collections right here in the Addlestone Library. We have one of the largest and best research archives of any university in the state. We have more than 500 separate manuscript collections. We have more than 5,000 linear feet of holdings, and we share our space with our friends and partners in the South Carolina Historical Society, whose collection is more than 6,000 linear feet. There is nowhere in the region in South Carolina where you can do the kinds of research you can do in our archive, and there's nowhere where you can play with the type of technology such as oral histories, digitized collections, digital humanities projects, like you can using these unique materials that are only available at the College of Charleston.
The past only lives if people have the opportunity to learn about it. In my opinion, as a historian, the best way to learn about the past is through documentary evidence, primary sources. So that's the business we're in. We're in the business of collecting the primary sources of history. It's critically important to reach the upcoming generation. Otherwise, The past has no future.